Hey guys, it's Christine, also known as IvyWinter. I just finished Uncharted 4 last night and I have a lot of thoughts. So I wanted to give a quick review of what I thought about the game. I will try to keep this spoiler free. There will be some mention of characters and things that might be a spoiler, so I'm just giving you that heads up right now, but I won't be talking about endings or anything like that. So you can rest assured that I won't give away major plot points, but I might bring up a few names or something, and, you know, if you don't want to know anything at all, you haven't been playing it at all yet, then you might want to steer clear from this video. So, immediately after finishing the game last night, I tweeted out that I finished it, and I called it a beautiful, exciting ride, and that's exactly how I feel about the game. And let me tell you, as what is said to be, you know, the real conclusion of this franchise, or at least the story of Nathan Drake, I think it was just beautifully done. So to start with a little bit of the story, and this is something that I think a lot of people already know, is that Nathan Drake had a brother who we thought died in a Panamanian jail. You do get to experience some of that in the opening. And finds out he's still alive, and he comes to him and says that he owes a debt to someone who broke him out of jail, and he needs to help him find the pirate Avery's fortune and treasure in order to have enough money to pay off the debt. So obviously Nathan, who cannot resist that kind of venture, even though right now he's in a very laid back, settled down life, decides to do this. He decides to do this and not tell Elena, and that in itself is a whole story. And we do see some old faces. So we do see Nadine, who some of you may remember from one of the past Uncharted's, runs a mercenary army. But we only saw her a little bit in the past, so you get to see more of her here, and she is partnered up with the villain Rafe. So what's nice is that this game does not do the whole, supernatural whatever that came out of some of the other games. Not to say that I had any problem with that, but I think because it's the last one, I think the other ones were very action-oriented, over the top. These crazy supernatural mythological things are happening, and this one steers away from that because the game really seems more about Nathan himself and the kind of growth that he finds in this adventure, and who he becomes and who he realizes he is, that he's kind of this person obsessed with treasure, and he's kind of an asshole, and he has to kind of rectify this with the people in his life. And so it isn't nearly as action-packed as I would say Uncharted 2 or 3 were, and I think that's a good thing. There are a lot of wonderful slow moments that I think really carry the story along beautifully and make you just have more time to feel connected to characters. There's really cool moments where you have these optional dialogues. You're moving around with a character in a chapter and the triangle pops above his head and you can speak to them, or you can choose not to. But if you do, you get a little bit more from the characters, you get a little bit more story. And I think we've already grown with a lot of these characters over so many games, but this game just really solidifies the feelings that you have for these characters. You know, we've really watched them go through all of these trials and tribulations, and it's really nice that we get to dive even deeper into what they're thinking and what their dynamics with each other are. So aside from story, just the overall setup and all of that, gameplay is awesome. So they've added in this cool grappling hook that you can swing to different areas with, and if you so choose, shoot people while you're hanging from said grappling hook. It's like a grappling hook and a rope. Not the most ideal way to take dudes out because you're pretty out in the open, but super fun. They also added in tall grass to aid with stealth, and that actually, to me, changed the whole sort of system for me. I always struggled a little bit with stealth in the past Uncharted. I find that while it was there as a mechanic, it was very hard to fully get through an area just in stealth. I felt like no matter what I did, I always ended up out in the open and just shooting a bunch of guys point blank. So I felt like there was more ability here to be stealthy and to actually take out a whole crew of guys without ever being seen. So gameplay in terms of like gunfights is pretty similar. In terms of all the climbing is pretty similar, but it's just done so well that you never feel like any certain section is too drawn out. It's not like, oh man, I've been climbing for like an hour, or man, when will this sequence of me shooting people end because I just want to get to the next area. So everything is like perfectly done where you don't feel like you're spending too long on one kind of mechanic, which is super great. And the game itself is just beautiful. Like, I literally had multiple moments where I stopped and went, wow. Like, I just looked out off a cliff, you know, over an ocean, and it's just like, wow. Like, this game is just literally beautiful. I don't know how else to explain it. You kind of have to experience it, but the amount of work that has definitely gone into the, not even just graphics, but like just the setups and the atmosphere and the places that you visit are just amazing. And even more so, like, you know, I played the other ones and, you know, you get to a certain legendary cities and you're like, wow, this is really cool, but this is that to the nth degree. Like, everything is just amazingly beautiful. I also want to talk a little bit about the voice acting. Phenomenal as always. I don't think that there's ever a wonder if that's going to be good or not, because Uncharted's always had this history of amazing voice actors. I love Troy Baker, and he is a fantastic addition as Sam Drake, Nathan's brother. And the way that Nolan North and Troy Baker, the two voice actors, play off of each other is just really great. Like, you can just tell that they have this chemistry, and it really comes off genuine, their relationship with each other as brothers. And I mean, everyone was just fantastic. The guy who played Rafe is especially fantastic. I apologize, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I was looking it up last night because I liked him so much. But I mean, everything was just, you know, at its best, really. And the funny thing about, like, Nathan Drake, like, I finished the game, and I won't go into the end, but the end is, I think there might be a couple of people who have different feelings about the epilogue, but to me it was pretty satisfying. It's a pretty satisfying end of Nathan Drake's, you know, story. And I think by the end of it, like, I just wanted him to be real, and I think that's the highest praise to give to any sort of voice actor, script writer, you know, anyone developing a character for a game. There are plenty of games where I'm like, man, I really like that character, but Nathan Drake is one of those first characters that I wish he was real. I wish he was a real human being that I could sit down and chill with and talk to about all his adventures, because he's just so well-rounded and likable and funny, but a little bit of an asshole, and just has all these characteristics that make him feel like a real, genuine person. And so the fact that I feel sad, like I'm going to miss him now, though granted I can play the games anytime I want, like, I just want to hear more about him. And so I think that's the highest praise I can give to any sort of video game character, to say, like, I wish he was a real dude and I can chill on my couch with a beer and talk to him. I think by the end I just felt so satisfied, and I think that that was the goal here, right? I think everyone was worried about playing Uncharted 4, and it's like, am I going to feel satisfied with this ending? And I felt incredibly satisfied, and I had the most fun I've had with the game in the longest time, and I'm ready to, like, go back and replay it. And of course, as usual with Uncharted, you can unlock all this bonus content, which changes the filters on your game and has funny physics and adds in guns and unlimited ammo and, like, all that fun stuff, so I can't wait to play around with that. I will have to say that I haven't touched multiplayer yet, so this review is solely on single player, you know, campaign mode. I will probably be playing around with multiplayer a little later today, and I'm sure I'll share my thoughts on Twitter. This was me mostly focusing on campaign because that's the thing that I was kind of running through. But anyway, I think it's fantastic. If you are a fan of the Uncharted series, obviously get it. If you are not, I think it's important to try to play the other ones first, especially at least 2 and 3, before playing 4, because there's going to be a lot there that calls back to past games. There's a lot of that, and there's a lot that just calls back to past story that's going to make more sense and have more of an impact when you play 4 if you've played the other ones. But overall, I just think it is completely beautiful game. So if you have any thoughts on Uncharted 4, maybe you finished it, maybe you haven't yet, maybe you're up to a certain part and you already have some like thoughts and feelings, I'd love to hear them. Please let me know in the comments below. You can also tweet me at IvyWinterYT. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I know I will. I'm wearing pinstripes because I'm off to a Yankee game, so hopefully your day is just as cool and exciting. Bye!